So the compliance risks around incorrectly recorded assets can lead to assets being missed entirely, which normally leads to a situation where a certain asset will fail, and that's the first time that it's been picked up as an actual asset.
Right.
And by that time, it's obviously too late, and the downtime on that failed asset is going to have ongoing operational effects to the building.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. Today I'm with Joe Perry, and he's going to be talking about the hidden risks facility managers often overlook. So before we get into it, Joe, could you give the audience a brief introduction to your background?
Yeah, of course, no problem. Sure. So I'm Joe. I'm a technical services manager for the facilities management industry, and my company, Facilidex, we specialise in asset verification services and condition reporting to support the strategic budget planning of facilities managers.
So how accurate are most asset registers, and what are the most common issues you find?
Well, a lot of asset registers are not as up to date as you would expect, and a lot of the time it largely boils down to the age of the building.
Right.
So as you'd imagine, as a building gets older, you've got more and more retrofitted plant going in there, and the asset list quite often gets overlooked when it comes to updating it. And probably one of the most common issues you'd find just boils down to quantities. So although you might have, for argument's sake, extract fans on the contract, it might be listed as just one extract, whereas in fact you've got 30 or 40 of them, which can affect your compliance and the overall costing of the contract.
Why are MEP assets so difficult to track?
Yeah, they're difficult to track because of the nature of the work involved with keeping them compliant. So although some firms know that they've got certain assets on site, they might not know that there's particular levels of compliance that fall under the annual maintenance unless it's been associated with the correct SFG 20 code.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite imperative to have all of that information aligned with the assets and the level of compliance which they need to adhere to.
What impact does poor asset data have on facility management operations?
So typically it would come down to budget spending, and poor asset data leads to smaller ongoing repairs rather than effective life cycling of equipment.
Yeah.
And that quite often comes down to not looking at assets as a system or assets relation to other assets.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I always find quite important to encompass into an asset verification is the parent-child aspect of linking certain main pieces of plant and equipment to secondary and associated pieces of equipment, and building more of a pipeline of an understanding of an asset's relation to a system as a whole rather than just as a standalone component.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the failure of one component leads to downtime of a larger system and, building implications that might have been unforeseen if the asset information wasn't correct.
How closely linked are asset verification and SFG 20 compliance?
Yeah, so asset information and SFG 20 really go hand in hand. One isn't worth a great deal without the other, because although the asset register will tell you exactly what plant is on site and which specialists and engineers need to be involved in the upkeep of the compliance, the SFG 20 really sets the exact standard as to which these need to be, the jobs need to be signed off in an annual period. So, the quarterly visits are just as important as the 6 monthly visits, and in turn just as important as the annual visits, really. And SFG 20 is the framework which defines all of those.
What compliance risks appear when MEP assets are incorrectly recorded?
So the compliance risks around incorrectly recorded assets can lead to assets being missed entirely, which normally leads to a situation where a certain asset will fail, and that's the first time that it's been picked up as an actual asset.
Right.
And by that time, it's obviously too late, and the downtime on that failed asset is going to have ongoing operational effects to the building. And depending on how much backup you've got, if you had no backup, for argument's sake, then it could render entire systems off for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Can you explain mobilisation and why it's so critical?
Yeah, of course. So mobilisation is the beginning of a successful tender in a facilities contract, and the reason why it's so important is because it sets the tone for the way that the contract's going to play out for the foreseeable future. And if you've signed up for a 3 or 4 year contract and the first 3 months gets off on the wrong foot, one, it could cause tensions with the client, which you don't want, and two, it can also see the contract become non-profitable quite quickly.
Yeah.
So when it comes to asset verification, the most critical part in the first 3 months is to get a concise and up-to-date variation put in. So you have a 3-month period to submit your variations, which is the difference between what you costed for the contract and how much the contract is actually worth.
Right.
So that's what makes it quite a pivotal stage. It's sets the stage really for the contract ongoing.
Okay. Where do FM providers lose money during mobilisation?
Yeah, so you would lose money through, again, small bits of information adding up. So for argument's sake, you might have a site that has 100 small assets, but the contract may have only been costed for one of those assets. And when it comes to labour loading those assets, although a very small piece of equipment might only have 15 minutes allocated to it, those 15 minutes start to scale into days worth of labour.
Yeah.
So that can be a big loss maker for a company, is not correctly labour loading smaller assets.
Yeah.
And other losses normally come from wasted first engineers visits.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And this is where things like consumables are very imperative to get down, so that if you're, for argument's sake, coming for your first annual boiler service, you want to make sure that engineer is turning up with the servicing kit already to hand.
Yeah. So how can verification reduce mobilisation costs?
Well, the cost of the variation process, if done properly, should pay for itself in the fact that the variations can be trusted. Yeah. Because the last thing you want is to come up to the annual review of a contract and find that the asset information that you've based that contract on is void from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that plays largely into things I've already said, like customer relations and making sure that all of the assets are up to date and compliant as per SFG 20.
So can you talk about some of the clients you've worked with? I particularly like your story about the company that had the meeting room and wanted to install air conditioning. I thought that was a great story.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, that's a great example of a client that perhaps didn't realise that they needed a consultant involved. So they'd identified the fact that a meeting room was very warm, and it wasn't just warm during the summer, it was warm during the winter as well. So they'd got a cost from an outside subcontractor to install air conditioning in this meeting room, but it actually transpired that the meeting room was above a boiler house, and that boiler house had a failed building management system, which meant the plant was running 24/7.
Yeah.
And also the boiler system had not a single jot of insulation on it. So all of the heat was escaping into the boiler house and then obviously making its way up to the meeting room above. So yeah, that's a great example of needing to look at a building as a whole rather than looking at a single point of failure.
Yeah.
Because that point of failure might not be expansive enough to realise the systems at play.
Should we talk about how technology is changing asset verification?
Yes, definitely, because my first involvement with asset verification was very old school, for want of a better word. It was all A3 printed sheets of paper and lots of pens and stuff, and you jot down notes. So there's definitely scope within the industry to branch out into some better technologies and utilise iPads and phones as most other things do now.
Yeah.
Just for the sake that you collect the asset data there and then to the full extent that's required. And typically you'd be exporting this data into a CAFM system already put in place by a facilities maintenance company or some sort of compliance portal with the customer.
Yeah.
So yeah, making a streamlined process to get all that information into a nice, collated and easy to understand Excel spreadsheet is a great way in which technology is improving at the moment to aid with these things.
And you're also developing your own software, or you have some of it already?
Yeah, so we're implementing software in exactly that manner to make the process of building condition reports quite straightforward, and this just allows our customers to better understand their budgets and where to spend them, and really build into the life cycling of their building rather than just taking the M&E on year per year.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Joe? Yeah.
Well, just we're keen to build relations with new clients. So if you know any commercial property managers or facilities maintenance companies that have gaps in their mobilisation process at the moment, we'd be more than happy to get involved and come and have a walk through the building and see where we're at with everything. Yeah.
I'd like to thank you, Joe, for agreeing to do this talk today. It's really interesting to hear about your expertise. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, so if you check out our website, which is www.facilidex.com, you'll find a list of all of our services we offer, plus my contact details, email and phone number. Get in touch with any of your consulting needs.
Okay, great. Okay, and I'll post Joe's bio and contact details below this video. And if you got some value from the video, then please like, share and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Thanks.